we got some awesome photos here, some color photos here, straight from the Shizuoka Hobby Show in Japan. They have on display finally, and it's funny because so many people were asking me about this. Like, when is she coming out? Like, what's the story with it? Because when we talked about it on the podcast, I know we have some friends between the two of us that are been looking forward to this Blackarachnia for a while now, and they're like, "What's the story with it? When is it coming out?" And I'm like, "Bro, we just had that one resin from One Fest, and it's just like they just like we didn't even see an alt mode,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? And the crazy thing is we have new photos now and new information, but the photos that we have is pretty much the exact same thing, except now we have the final color figure. And I mean, well, I'll tell you this right now, I'm very happy with how it turned out in color. It looks spectacular. Some people were talking about how they think, because with the original prototype resin, they were saying like, oh, maybe they fixed the breasts and how it doesn't have the nipples on it. It still does. I just want to bring up, because what happens is a lot of times is prototypes are done in a gray resin because it really makes the details pop when you do the mold. I always refer to this constantly, and I feel like a broken record, but go back, like Google prototype Armada Overload, and you'll see like, holy crap, like that toy looked great as a prototype, and then the final product was turned red and all the details were washed out with just a color of plastic. So it's kind of the same thing here, where because of the gold and the coloring and everything, especially with these Beast Wars masterpieces, the gold is always like, any of the paint on them always comes out really nice. Kind of washes out the little nipples, if we'll call it that. But it's still present there. But this looks incredible.
Yeah.
She looks spectacular. But what sucks is like, man, I want to see what that alt mode looks like.
Oh,
Because
yeah, true.
I want to see, like, because the biggest reason why Blackarachnia just didn't, work out well as a toy in the past, and another reason why she was so impossible, was how just the colors went from one part to the other. To be able to, like, a Black Widow spider is, in its name, it's primarily black, and that's it. Now, Blackarachnia, the character, how they kind of got away with it was like, okay, well, her legs will be kind of like an orangey, gold in alt mode in the show.
Yeah.
And, so like she'll be able to like have some kind of color. She won't be completely black like the actual Black Widow spider in real life. But the point is, it's like, where does all that gold come from? And it's just me going like, man, I want to see that alt mode, and I want to see how they hide the gold. Where does the gold go? I mean,
Or does it even go anywhere?
Well,
You know what I mean?
I'm almost 100% certain that they figured something out. I mean, Dinobot was such a master of engineering that I'm pretty sure they figured something out, and I want to see what that is. We have now all this information too, which is absolutely great. It tells us a lot of cool stuff about it. Number one, it says it has a pre-order date starting May 15th, which is a lot sooner than we think.
Yeah.
It's supposedly a release date of November 2019. Again, a lot sooner than we think, which is crazy how we went from we know nothing about this to like just one little prototype to now we have a release date before the year is over. Packaging size, not a big deal. The packaging size from what it reads like here is going to be much smaller packaging, similar to that of let's say the Autobot cars or Cheetor. Actually, more like Optimus Primal, actually, now looking at these dimensions.
Probably.
So, and what it comes with is, here's what's really cool, too. So it comes with the body of the figure, one smiling face, one screaming face, one poison anchor, one missile anchor. The difference is the poison anchor is probably her missile that has, it's like shaped like an anchor and it would stick into things. The missile one is just the basic missile that she would normally shoot. She kind of like, she shot it at Starscream when he was like, stuck in Energon and everything.
Yeah.
She has a visor and visor cable and cord. What that is, what I think is, that's from the episode Other Voices Part 2, where she was working on the stasis pod before Primal used it to go attack the Planet Buster, and she was wearing like this this visor on her head, and then Tarantulas got into her mind. Mm-hmm. Remember that? So I think that that's what those pieces represent. Of course, she has the spider web parts, which we saw in the image there, which is from the episode, not Double Jeopardy. What was the other one? Spider Game. Mm-hmm. Then we have, of course, the base. We have something here, an arm, adapter A, adapter B, probably all the stuff related to of course the spider web, and trading card, and that's it. The best part about this too, and this was
And
the
a
really
manual.
good,
Don't forget the manual.
and the
Most
manual, yeah,
important part.
which is also like the history of the character and stuff, and they show some of the past toys, which is pretty cool, like with every masterpiece. But here's another really cool thing: the price. Now we just had 2 Beast Wars toys that topped out at that $250, $300 range in Dinobot and Beast Wars Megatron.
The flagships, basically.
Yeah, and so it made us kind of go like, oh man, what is she going to be now? You know, we have a new standard here of masterpiece product. You know, we had G1 Megatron 250, Beast Wars Megatron 250, Dinobot 250, 300 in some areas depending. So it's like, and then we have even MP-44 Optimus coming soon, which is probably going to also be, in that expensive range.
Mm-hmm.
What is she going to cost here? Well, good news is, 15,000 yen, aka approximate translation of $136 American.
Oh, so not everything.
So not completely terrible. And in all honesty, and I've said this off the air also, if they didn't include that spider web, which isn't necessary really, because that's more of a tarantulas prop in my opinion, but if that spider web wasn't included, I think it would have been even cheaper. But I think it's just them going like, we got to include something, And like you mentioned off the air, like, yeah, you could put your Cheetor on it, And again, it's something that's supposed to be Cheetor and tarantulas, but I guess it is a Cheetor prop as a result. And because we do have a masterpiece Cheetor, it's a little extra something. But this looks great. It looks spectacular. I'm super happy about this. The discussion came up. It's like, well, then who next now for masterpieces? I mean, in all honesty, there's like I said, there's what we want, and then there's what I think is just what they're going to do, like the smart move.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just going to go Primal and Megatron Transmetal. Like, I mean, would I want to Tigatron? Of course. I would love to have a good Tigatron. Yeah. Would I like, some of the other characters, like a good pterosaur, of course.
I would kill for an awesome pterosaur, especially with all his like power up weapons, like the bigger gun he gets.
Oh, totally.
The bigger shoulder cannons he gets to use and stuff like that.
Power surge pterosaur.
Yeah, I would definitely want that kind of stuff because that was a really cool concept. But sadly, we haven't gotten anything.
That's that.
And what kind of scale would he be? Holy.
Well, no, I think he would still
be.
I still think he would be 2 scale, and he would be something that's similar to like let's say I don't know. I don't want to say like Bumblebee because Bumblebee would be too small of a masterpiece, but something larger than that. But it's just that I just don't see them.
It's not a priority.
You know what? And if anything, like we talked about it on the podcast not too long ago about the one-day license Scorponok that's going to be at One Fest.
Yeah.
And the thing with that is that the fact that Hasbro, Takara-Tomy, and all of that is letting that happen shows that it's not happening anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's them pretty much going like, yeah, you could do it because we're not doing anything right now.
Yeah.
And they're very strict with that kind of stuff. So the fact that they're letting, I think it's Melzella, the guy who's doing it, do it shows that like, yeah, they're not looking at the villains.
Has that happened before where they're like, someone was like, oh, I'm going to release this, and then it's like, no, I can't release this.
If it has happened, we probably wouldn't know about it because it would probably be essentially how it works to my recollection is they make pitches to and to the respected companies, and this is not just Takara-Tomy and Hasbro. This is not Hasbro, but it's Japanese side, but all the companies. So pretty much like the one-day exclusives for Bandai-owned products and everything like that, and essentially they have to get approved, and that's it. And from the Transformer side of things, it's usually in our case, it's like, well, because we have such a huge flourishing third-party scene, it's like, well, what would make money, what hasn't been done, what aren't they going to be doing? Mm-hmm. And so that guy did the Scorponok, and well, that to me that tells me no plans anytime soon.
Right. Okay.
And I just feel personally, I feel that if we were going to get another Beast Wars character after this, it's going to be like Transmetal Optimus Primal, Transmetal Megatron. I like, as much as I would like some of those other ones, it's just like, what would be the safe bet for them?
Right.
And Beast Wars Metals, as what season 2 and 3 was called in Japan, was very successful. And to me, I feel that's the 2 characters they would want to dive into. And in all honesty, I mean, as much as I'm not a huge fan of Optimus Primal's season 2 design. I mean, I don't know, just the monkey
Really?
face.
You don't dig him?
I've never been. Well, I don't hate it.
I dig that design over the Optimal Optimus. I'm just like, oh god.
You know what it is? I find Optimal Optimus's robot mode and season 1's robot mode head, both of them were better at emoting, I guess is the best way to put it. Where I found that the season 2 head, the Transmetal head, maybe it's the way the eyes were done and stuff like that. It just, there wasn't a way to emote, and that was the one thing. It's the glowing eyes that like Dinobot had too, like Primal had that. I like that because certain characters were really able to
express themselves,
express how they were feeling without having to say anything very easily. Like Cheetor had that. Blackarachnia didn't have that. Blackarachnia had, like, her first form. It was quite difficult because it's just like dark, soulless eyes, if anything. You know what I mean? There wasn't anything there. Tarantulas was another one. There's certain characters that just like another good one is Waspinator. What's Waspinator sad? What's Waspinator happy? What's Waspinator scared? There's like one emotion.
That one's really tough because his
mandibles open.
Yeah, he has mandibles that just open and close all the time. And then you get him to emote by reacting,
screaming.
his body reacting to, or lack thereof, reacting to stuff around him.
Pieces of him. Yeah.
You have to go big, and you have to look to the Thing from Addams Family. You know
exactly.
You know what I mean? You have to go to the Thing from
Body
Addams
language.
Family, and then like him in his head with the hand, just I'm gonna drag myself to the CR chamber.
But the thing is that like getting back to what I'm saying, like I just think that that's the logical choice, that they'll probably go with the 2 leaders again if they do something next. Again, like
part of me wants to say like, oh, I hope they do another Rat Trap, but it's like the Transmetal Rat Trap is like spot on, and then the Generations Rat Trap is spot on.
Those are
there's nothing
sadly,
to improve on those, and they're probably to scale, if anything.
I think we talked about this before, but those are also characters that I just have this feeling that if they did want to do them, they would do them in Generations.
Probably,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just, I just feel like, and trust me, I would love it if it was a masterpiece instead. But there's just certain characters where they just go. Like I almost feel like they'll like imagine like they're engineering the masterpiece toy for Rat Trap, and then when it's all said and done, they go, "Bruh, like this is like the deluxe price point."
They would do like a studio.
Yeah, they'd have to like
take the same
stuff.
toy and then you slap on way more paint decals, and
They'd have
call
to.
it a day.
They'd have to give him like an armor rack or something, and like a what's it called there, a hard hat for that like 5 seconds of an episode that he was wearing a hard hat or something, or the entire.
Oh, what'd be funny if they gave him? They gave Rat Trap the what was it called, the side panel, so he could surf on it.
No, I got a better one.
You remember that?
It's like,
where he was he's like sliding on the energy water or stuff like that, and he's got the side panel.
I got one better. It's because Rat Trap would be so cheap to make. It would be Rat Trap, and he comes with the entire Sentinel computer.
No,
from the episode Better Mousetrap.
Oh, you know what you do? You do Transmetal Rat Trap, and you give him the bandolier and the big gun for your masterpiece. Dinobot.
Well, that's just it. Like he's something that like if you made a masterpiece, it's like Voyager price point at most in terms of cost. So it's something that I'm pretty like I can almost see it like they were working on Rhinox.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, man, this is just a Voyager. Like cuz literally like I love that Rhinox.
That Rhinox is so good.
That Rhinox is amazing, but it's a masterpiece Rhinox when you think about it. I mean, what could they do at this point? Like very little. Yeah, of course you could always tweak something. You could always tweak something
but
to make
the fact
just
that they got the gun right and you just press down on that thing and it spins around and everything. So good.
2 guns. 2 guns. Not one.
They get the
2
gimmick
guns.
right too.
That's what blew my mind. It was like, oh man, it's going to come with the gun.
You know what they would do? You know what they
2
do?
guns.
They would give you a little stand that's just a pile of shells so you can stand in it.
But that's just it. They could do something, but at the same time, it's like and again, we still are in this climate where it's like, where's our masterpiece RC? Like where's our masterpiece Blur? I just feel at the same time on top of all of that, like I look, Beast Wars is my favorite Transformer series of all time. I will not argue that, but it's just there's certain characters that I feel that Japan has just this list that's like, here's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And like Pterosaur is just not on that list.
No,
you
not
know,
at
like
all.
and it's at the same time, like I said, there's the smart choice where they're like, well, if we're gonna take a risk and engineer a masterpiece, they're gonna go with safer Beast Wars characters over like, oh, well, how many people in Japan are, because again, it's about Japan first before we get it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I always say, if we're so important, then how come Beast Wars Megatron ships with his Japanese voice box? You know?
That's what everyone's wondering. Like, is Hasbro going to be releasing BeastArs Megatron and get our the best friend for the Transformers like fandom? You know, David Kayan on it. You know, and everyone. I remember at TFCon, people were asking, "Oh, did you know about this particular toy?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know about it. Oh, cool." And it's like, yeah, and he has a voice box and everything. Oh, well, no one told me yet. You know, it's like,
well, and
you know,
the funny thing is,
it's kind of it's like he kind of knows about it. I don't know if he still remembers it, but it's like, you know, people have told him that, yo, it's there, it's da.
I've talked about this on the Discord. I was saying like how, because David K right now has this little button.
Oh,
that
yeah,
you push it and it has all the different sounds and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know, side guns. You know, like it's one of those things. If, you know, someone who's a really big techie guy, if they want to take apart a masterpiece, Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron, get a hold of that button with its like little, you know, voice activated stuff. Gut that, yeah, and you know that's straight from the source. That's almost like, you know, David K should be selling the parts for it. And I mean, his first third party endeavor.
If we get to talk to him, we'll talk to him.
We use his real name too, like it'll be like
no. Well, I'm saying, like next time we go to a con and we see him, we're like, hey, we figured out this. I think you should just sell the chip, and then more enterprising people will buy it off of you, and then add it to their toy.
There's got to be some like repro labels level middleman who's like, here's a way how you could take the chip from this and put it in this.
I'm
and
sure
now you got it.
There's some silicon person out there.
Oh yeah, there's some guy that's gonna
printing
take
out
apart
silicons,
one.
You know.
Yeah, and just going like, here you go. You know, here's all you have to do is a little bit of soldering, and now you have the real deal. Because no offense to the Japanese voice actor of Beast Wars Megatron, but he, you know, the sad thing with Beast Wars is a lot of those idiosyncrasies of voice acting and stuff were lost on a lot of that. The gimmick with the Japanese version of Beast Wars Megatron was that, like, when he would scream, like the David K scream, it was actually like a woman's shriek instead. Everything was like a comedy with it, which was unfortunate. But I mean, it's the sad thing is that this is being done with Japan in mind first. Look, the only reason we're getting Blackarachnia, and I'm going to be straight up here, is it's Japan and it's titties. You know what I mean? That's the best way to put it. You know what I mean? What a surprise that Blackarachnia shows up at One Fest the very first time. Like literally a convention that is known like insanely for its hentai and ecchi section.
Yeah.
You know, like where the creator of Kissplay got his first jobs pretty much, you know, Yuki Oshima. So it's like it's no surprise that it showed up there. And that this is the choice, because they're like, well, if we're going to go with one of the villains, let's go for one that for sure is going to, you know, sell some figures. Like if it's not even going to sell with the Transformer market, then the, you know, girly anime action figure manga market is going to like this, you know, so it's going to work out in the end. But yeah, this is awesome. I feel like we've been talking about this enough, and definitely let us know what you think, but hopefully we'll see some images of that alt mode sooner than later.